You could see there was blood coming out of her eyes.
And
blood coming out of her, whatever.
You gotta see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. Oh, I don't remember.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters.
Get him the hell out of here. Get him out of here. Get out.
That was a new ad from a super PAC backing Hillary Clinton, airing now in battleground states Ohio, Florida, Iowa, and North Carolina. When it comes to ad spending, Hillary Clinton and groups supporting her have so far spent $114 million. Donald Trump and groups backing him, by comparison, have spent $19 million. That's a 17-to-1 comparison. NBC News confirms a Politico report that Marco Rubio faced more negative ads in the primary than Hillary Clinton has faced in the general election, and by a wide margin. Rubio had $39 million spent against him, while Clinton has had just $6 million spent against her so far in the general election. Joining us now from Milwaukee, author, radio talk show host, and editor-in-chief of the website Right Wisconsin, Charlie Sykes, and in Austin, Texas, political analyst and MSNBC contributor, Dr. Victoria DeFrancesco Soto. Good morning to you both. Thanks for being with us. Charlie, let me start with you there in the state of Wisconsin. As you look at the map right now for Donald Trump, it's a tough map. There's no question about it. Polls in states like Colorado and Virginia, where he needs to win, are not good. Another one in Florida, not good for him either. I think it's fair to say where you are and Michigan probably have gone away for him. What's the scenario, as you look at it, where Donald Trump could become president of the United States?
Well, I think it's incredibly difficult. I mean, he really has to draw to an inside straight right now. And unfortunately, he hasn't quite figured out what his strategy is. Is he working on ginning up his base? Is he reaching out? If he had a disciplined message, maybe he could start to break through. But it seems like on virtually every single news cycle, he changes his strategy. You know, for example, you have a target-rich environment with Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation. The latest revelations on the emails are potentially devastating. But what is he doing? He's spending time on this cringe-worthy, wacky conspiracy theories about her health. He's going after Joe and Mika and all of this stuff. So I think it's going to be extremely difficult for him to put together that 270 electoral votes.
Charlie, off of what you just said, the 9th commissioner of baseball, who lives in Milwaukee, Bud Selig, and is an occasional listener of yours, was telling me a few days ago that you were talking about the feedback you're getting from the echo chamber that is part of talk radio about just that. When you talk about those issues where you think Trump is off the wall, some of your listeners are calling, complaining. Do you fear losing listeners because of your approach?
Oh, I know that I'm losing listeners, but quite frankly, if that's the price I have to pay, then I'm willing to pay it. But I mean, this is part of the challenge that I think a lot of conservative media folks have to face, is there is this alternative reality bubble that's been created on the right. I'm sure there's one on the left as well, but that's not my problem. And in this feedback loop, there are a lot of people who, quite frankly, don't want to hear negative things about Donald Trump. You know, I'm trying to convince them, look, there needs to be a reality check here. If you get all of your information from Breitbart and InfoWorld, you know, InfoWars, you're going to be surprised by what's going to happen in November.
Victoria, this is Nicole. I wonder if you could make more sense than we were able to earlier this morning about the softening language on immigration without a changed position on immigration. And you're in Texas. Do you think there's any, do people want to be receptive to that kind of move, or do you think that the die has been cast?
You know, Nicole, I think that Donald Trump is trying to have his cake and eat it, too. I think he wants to secure his base by staying true to his wall message. Last night at the rally here in Austin, he was very firm about building the wall. But then in the Hannity-Trump hall, we saw him softening a little bit on deportation. So I think what he's going to try to do is say, hey, deportation is something that I'm not going to do. I want to be fair. I don't want to be separating families out. And also the cost of it, it's $400 to $600 billion to deport everybody, but keeping true to that build the wall message. Is it going to stick? I don't know. Are those hardcore conservatives, anti-immigrant folks going to say, you know what, it's all or nothing? I don't know, but I think right now he wants to cast the net as wide as he can and getting the more moderate Republicans, maybe even some Latino Republicans, and keeping the base.
Hey, Charlie, it's Sam Stein here. I want to go back to a point you just made about sort of this reckoning, this coming reckoning that's going to happen, not just within Republican politics, but within conservative media. What's the landscape in your imagination look like after a probable, I should say, Trump loss, what do the next months look like within the conservative media echo chamber, within the Republican Party?
Well, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of finger pointing. There's going to be the circular firing squad. I don't expect that any of these voices who have been enabling Donald Trump are going to say, "Wow, we were wrong. We're really sorry about all of that." So I think you're going to have continued fragmentation, but I also think you're going to have a split in the conservative media. I mean, between I would say the rational wing of the party that's been represented by National Review, Commentary Magazine, The Weekly Standard, and some of the talk show hosts who have really gone over into Breitbart, Drudge world. I certainly wouldn't be surprised if there's a Trump News Network after this.
Victoria, we had Charlie Mook on not too long ago, the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton. We were talking about the impact of the blurring lines between the Clinton Foundation and the State Department, the impact of the emails, all these things. There's a new piece in Politico this morning that says the Clinton campaign effectively has decided to run out the clock. It feels like it's doing well enough it can hold the ball and get to Election Day. Do you think she's able to do that successfully? Can she ignore some of these controversies, not push back as hard as she otherwise might have if it's a closer race?
I think she can, given the current state of the Trump campaign, where it keeps flip-flopping back and forth. But, earlier Joe said, well, why don't you just stop it now? Why don't you say we're not going to wait to see if she's elected president to shut down the Clinton Foundation? Why not stop it now? And the thing about this is that it doesn't smell right. She could probably limp along for the rest of the campaign, letting it wind down. But I think there's that frustration among Democrats of saying, yes, we know the Clinton Foundation did some good things, but, refocus on the presidential campaign and just let it end.
All right, Victoria DeFrancesco Soto, Charlie Sykes, thank you both for your time this morning. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Still